And welcome back to the international edition of the TV show, everybody. I'm Jay Black, joined every week by Angelo Cataldi, who's just in his house, so not as interesting.
No.
And the lovely Rhea Hughes coming to us live from jolly old England. Rhea, let's start the show. Tell us what's going on in England right now.
It's been really awesome. I have to tell you, we have just had the greatest. You saw, the way the Phillies ended on Sunday was not great. But Saturday was so awesome. We did the Phillies. Angelo, you know this. The Phillies may drive you crazy for a lot of years when they didn't win. But when they do events, there's nobody who puts events on better than the Philadelphia Phillies. They had a tailgate party at this place called the Sky Garden. 35 floors in the air, 2 stories of like a garden. It was unbelievably amazing. We had Cole Hamels there. Shane Victorino was here. Like all the alumni were here. They were absolutely amazing. Just had a great time. Then we switched to a tailgate over on the over by the stadium. So it was the games were at London Stadium, which they built for the Olympics, and now they house West Ham, which is one of their soccer things. But to get there, it's called a place called Hackney Bridge. It's basically like a little, I believe, an offshoot of the Thames River. Houseboats, little bars along the way. I mean, a mile walk where you could literally stop, get something to eat, stop, have a drink. And the weather was perfect. So, I mean, we've had an absolutely amazing time so far.
That's wonderful. Did you have bangers and mash yet?
We do not do bangers and mash. Clark's like, why do they put beans with everything? So that was kind of interesting. They still, Angelo, I don't understand this. Everything has to be room temperature. I'm like, I've got to put ice in my wine. I need ice for my orange juice. I need ice for my water. I'm like, just put an ice bucket in my room. But other than that, but the people are so friendly here. I mean, I haven't had one bad experience with an English person the entire time I've been here. They're funny. They're like, so you have a match today? I'm like, no, we don't call it a match. It's a baseball game. But they were really into it because they were shocked. Angelo, you won't be shocked at this because you and I went to Los Angeles when the Eagles played the Rams, the famous Carson Wentz game. The entire town were Phillies people wearing red. You could not go anywhere. They said they had something like over 100,000 fans at the stadium the past 2 days, and I would say 75% of them were Phillies fans.
That's what I saw. I'm just curious because you lived there for a year.
Yeah.
Is it a lot different than it was? What was it, like 30 years ago?
Yeah, well, got it. Yeah, I was a junior in college. It's a lot more modern. I mean, the Tower Bridge, the Tower, all the tourist stuff are still the same. The city is way more modern. Like, I do all these British shows all the time, and I'm thinking that's not the London I remember. Clark counted on our way in from Heathrow. How many cranes? 64 cranes. There is building going on nonstop. And so everything's gleaming. So you've got this kind of real neat mixture of old and new. But it's just, it's beautiful. I think the city, they've done a really, really nice, and the tube is amazing. I love the tube.
Yeah.
So you said the game experience is really good live in person. Angela, I'm curious because we got some fan mail and I sent it over to you. I was trapped in Alaska that the Fox coverage of the game was abysmal. Do you agree with our fans what they had on this side of the pond?
I've never been able to say this in 2 years on the podcast. My life is too full to be able to answer that. I was on the beach. It was a beautiful beach day Saturday, but I got the same reaction you did, Jay. I got one guy who emailed me directly and called the Fox coverage hot liquid garbage. All right. But after you texted me, it said, you got to check on this. So yesterday I watched to see, and ESPN took this really cool event and did everything they possibly could to ruin it. Everything.
Wow.
And my favorite moment in the whole thing, Rhea, because they've got the generic announcers. It's not appealing to the local fans at all.
No.
I realize it's a national broadcast, but maybe you could incorporate the fact that most of the people in the stands are Phillies fans.
Right.
Get that going. They pan at one point in the game to Larry Bower, and standing next to him with his arms folded like this is Tom McCarthy, not doing the games. And I'm going,
no. Why?
can you put him there? Let
Yeah.
give you some flavor for what we're seeing from a guy who does the games. No.
I think he did some radio, Ange, because he was at
Yeah.
our show on Friday. So I
Right.
think that they were popping him on. What I heard about Saturday's broadcast, because obviously I get the same emails or I read the same tweets, that they literally started the pregame from Yankee Stadium, taking you on a tour of Monument. What is it called? Monument Park, Ange?
Monument Park. Yeah, Monument
Yeah.
Park.
They were talking all about that, and it's going, no, MLB has
No.
created this, and it was packed. By the time the game started, there wasn't a seat to be found.
Well, national games, Jay, you know this. National games make games for local fans less interesting. They actually hurt your appreciation of the game. You've seen that.
Because I think that there is a flattening effect that takes place when you do a national game. It's
Yeah.
like when they open up a chain, national chain of a regional food. They have to sort of take the character and get rid of it a little bit. And that what's sad about that is the appeal of the Philadelphia fan base outside of Philly is the fact that they are this rabid group of people.
Correct.
Let the world see that. If anybody can appreciate hooligans in the stands, it's England. They invented hooliganism. That's the whole point. So
the whole thing is, Rhea knows this. Every time there's a Philadelphia national game, we got to see the cheesesteak. We got to see the Rocky Scott statue, right?
Yeah.
And now you're in another country.
Yeah.
Don't they need to incorporate the culture into the event we're seeing?
Yeah, because what you see is just with all the fans. And here was, to me, now I don't know if they showed it a lot. The Fanatic literally killed it.
Yeah.
He killed it the entire weekend. They got him the Beefeater suit, the suit where the guy stands there. And they posted him outside Buckingham Palace, and he just was standing there. Oh. Then they had him walking across the street. He was literally, and the Fanatic was just phenomenal. But yeah, the story about, I mean, listen, and when Bryce Harper did the soccer style thing after his home run, the place where that's because Bryce Harper is a showman. Bryce Harper, Fox should have gone to him and said, how should we present this game? Because you know better.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And Rhea, here's the other thing. You were just saying the Fanatic. I didn't watch every pitch. I watched the last 5-6 innings yesterday. They showed him once. To me, seeing the reaction of people from another country with that the greatest mascot I've ever seen.
Yes.
That would be hilarious. Keep a camera on him and give us a little snippet of what that was like. Nothing.
Al Ange, in between innings, he does crazy stuff. So he's got the Beefeaters uniform on, and he's standing along the sidelines, and he does a thing. He brings a guy out, and all of a sudden they start playing Will Smith's what was it called? Oh my God, Will Smith's back in Philly.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the guys. The guy starts breakdancing, then the Fanatics breakdancing, the whole stadium's going crazy. So they have to show. That's what you got to show, because frankly, let's be, the Mets are 16 and a half games back. They may have won yesterday. Frankly, let me just say this, Ange, because I didn't really get a chance to rip Topper that bad this morning. I wanted to, but listen, it was a great weekend. So you got to kind of balance it out. People were happy, got a great crowd. Putting Soto in for Taijuan Walker was just outrageous. So I was very unhappy.
He is. I'm telling you, Rhea, that he's going to break some hearts this year. We're talking about the manager, Rob Thompson. He's going to break some hearts this year. They got a team that could win it all. Nobody's going to argue that.
They could.
He's going to find a way to screw it up. I got a feeling.
And I just got a note. I have to mention this. So my son just hands me a note. He's standing up and you can't read it. So I go and get him popcorn. Explain to the British how to do popcorn. I bring back this massive, very expensive thing of popcorn that had no flavor but a slight little sugar. It was terrible. They have to learn how to do popcorn.
No salt? No butter?
No salt, no butter. No.
Rhea, give him the recipe before you leave.
That is why the American colonies left. A lot of people don't know that. They had popcorn one time and they said, you know what? We cannot have a king any longer.
Greatest t-shirt, one last thing, greatest t-shirt. I sent you a picture and this guy wore it to the stadium.
Yes.
I see him walking, says the British lost a 13 colony lead.
Yeah.
It was,
I saw that. It's
just
great.
brilliant.
That was the best thing.
So brilliant, so brilliant. But wonderful time. The British,
Right.
the English were really welcoming. I think they did they did a really nice job at the stadium. So it was a lot of fun.
And Rhea, just on a personal note, from me and Angela, we're just so happy you got a chance to go to England. That's great.
Yeah.
We know
I
how much you
know.
love it. That's just nice.
Great. And,
No,
and
it
your
was
son got
really
to
cool.
see it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad Clark got to see it.
All right, so let's go through these other topics relatively quickly. I wanted to talk about this just as a comic. Rob Schneider, who is part of one of the better classes in SNL history, the class that had Adam Sandler and David Spade and Chris Rock. Huge stars came out of that time period. He was one of the lesser icons of that time. He had a couple of hit movies. He has done what a lot of has-been comics do, which is have a rebirth as a right-wing comedian. He gets hired for a hospital gig in Canada and gets booed off the stage. And it makes
Wait, can you explain to me what a hospital gig is? Just
So it's a
gig
charity
at a
gig.
hospital?
It's
charity.
yeah,
Okay,
so
got it.
yeah, you get hired to come in to do the comedy. People pay for the tickets, and the charity, goes.
Got
But you get paid for it generally. He wasn't doing it out of the goodness of his heart. So he gets booed off the stage, and it's the most Rob Schneider has been in the news in quite some time. And I have some insight on this as a comic. Have you guys ever been involved in something like this? Have you ever seen Angela, you're shaking your head. Yes.
Yeah, I know you have better stories than I did, but I got up. I was booked for a speaking engagement, and I think they were gonna give me like $500. I only had to do 10 minutes, and I got up, and while I was doing it, it was a bunch of young people who were like the Pro Painters Association of America. They were college kids who painted on the side, and they were setting up a band. And they didn't know me from Adam.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, there is nothing like it. You're way better.
Yeah.
I went 3 minutes in, Jay. I went to my closer. Because
Wow.
I knew I had one joke that always worked. It was Charles Barkley. And I'm telling you, the most I got was maybe a sneeze.
Wow.
I walked off after 3 minutes. I thought it was 30.
Wow.
And
It's
the guy
time
still-
moves, the time dilation effect. Yeah.
Jay, when you're up there and they don't care or they don't want you to be there, there's no worse feeling I've ever experienced.
No.
What's
And you know what?
that like? That must have happened to you.
It does. And it's one of those things early on, the one story I always tell is I was performing in Norfolk, Virginia, and the opener had been the house MC. So he knew all the local stuff, and every joke he told killed so hard that these people, I thought they were going to light fire to the stage and carry him off in triumph. And every night he'd introduce me by going, no, he would say, I have to go. And the audience would be like, no, don't go. Please, we love you. And he goes, no, you'll love this next guy. He's from New Jersey. And they would start booing
Immediately.
New Jersey. Like when you get to the U in Jersey and you. And I would get up and eat it every night. But the worst was the last night. Someone started fake laughing just a little bit too late. And that got laughs. And
no.
I was on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge driving home crying. I hate this. I hate this. But you know what? I got to the end of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge and said, I'm going back and doing better, because you have to be a psychopath to do stand-up comedy. Right. You want to please people even who hate you. I'll just say this. That's a stomach ache when you're on stage. It's a stomach ache for the people off stage. But I'm going to defend Rob Schneider for a second here. Not his fault that he's
an idiot already.
Right.
And that whole 90s SNL thing, I know Bill Murray didn't like that group. They were overrated. Even Sandler, who I think now is a terrific filmmaker, the Hanukkah songs, all that stuff, most of what he did was a swing and miss.
Yes.
A lot of those 90s people, I don't know, they might have hit it at the right time, that was not one of the stronger classes. I agree with Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Jay, you mentioned about an opener, and Angela and I, and I don't know if we've ever mentioned the story, so I'll keep the names out to protect the innocent. We went to see someone, and we knew both of the comics, and the one comic opened and crushed it. I mean, my parents are with me. I've never forgotten. We couldn't. Our sides hurt. We were laughing so much. The main guy came up, and he knew it from the get-go. There was no way he could be as funny. And he literally killed his act because he kept pointing out how funny the first guy was. It was very uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah,
We'll give you one clue. They're both from Philly.
Yeah, I have a thought. I have a thought on this.
No, leave it alone. Rhea is protecting the guilty.
Yes, I am protecting the guilty.
So yeah, it's I just want to say it's the booker's responsibility to know the act that they're booking. And if you're gonna hire a dum-dum and then get upset that a dum-dum does dum-dum stuff, that's on you. I'm sorry. You got to do a little research. It's not like we
As Al Morgani always said, if you hire a stripper for your kid's birthday party, don't be surprised when she takes her clothes off.
There
you go.
And one other thing, Jack. If that performance was on a boat, like those you do, I expected Schneider to do a full leap off the thing and into the ocean.
Angelo, there are stories of guys bombing so hard on a boat, they make them get off the boat.
No.
Not making it up.
In a dinghy?
No, at the next stop. You got to get into a little dinghy. Like they call it a Schneider.
Load him onto a dinghy.
They'll put you on the next flight out. That's because they don't want you walking around in your own filth like that. So we're a little behind. So let's skip over the original number 3 here and just do a follow-up on last week. Angelo had recommended a movie. I watched it. It's called Knox Goes Away. If you get a chance, Angelo is 100% correct. This is a throwback movie to the kind of stuff that we were talking about with The Sting, an adult movie, and not an adult in a nudity way. Get your mind out of the gutters, everybody. I thought that Michael Keaton as a director did a very good job. That he's a hitman who's losing his he's got dementia, so he's losing his ability to function. And there's a lot of camera tricks and stuff that they use to sort of put you in the shoes of what it must feel like to be there, where you lose time and you don't know where you are, and you sort of go with Michael Keaton on this journey. But it's not an oppressively dour movie. It is, and it's got comedy. It's got some twists and turns that you don't expect. Every 20 minutes, there seems to be another left-hand turn that takes you somewhere else. I bought it for $15 because I wanted my son to see it, but you can rent it now for $5.99. And you know, if you're somebody that has said, I want the world to be filled with movies like this is a chance to put your money where your mouth is.
Jay, I had mentioned yesterday this weird little twist where Michael Keaton's only directed 2 movies, and he's a hitman in both.
Yeah,
I went back to saw his original 2008 hitman film, The Merry Gentleman, and he has grown a lot as a director. The first movie was just okay. It wasn't bad. It held my attention, but it was not like Knox Goes Away. Knox Goes Away is one of the best movies I've seen in years and years. You cannot go wrong. Check it out.
Check it out for sure. Although apparently I can go wrong because Angela wants to yell at me about cord cutting. Before I do, I want to thank our listeners. I got a great bit of advice on how to use my existing MLB League Pass account to watch the Phillies. It seems semi-legal. I don't know if it's fully legal, but I'm going to try it. It's getting a VPN is what they said. So I can reset where I live so that I can like watch the Phillies like I lived in Dallas or something like that.
Kind of illegal, but you know, you do in your own home.
Yeah.
Let me address the cord cutting thing in 30 seconds. All right, Jay? I'm saying this to everybody out there who's cord cutting and is proud of it. You're full of it. All right. You are not seeing all the great TV you want to see. You need in your house your own IT department to figure out how to finagle every angle to get what you want to see. Rhea's Dynasty Sports, you got to get the cable. You got to get the cable. So
No, but Andrew, I have the Xfinity. I have it. I can still watch it.
stop bragging. Not you, Rhea. You're in the Stop bragging about cord cutting. You are saving no money.
No.
And if you're saving any money, you know what you're doing? You're sacrificing great television. Spring for it. There's nothing better to entertain you on a daily basis than TV.
You know what it
That's all-
reminds me of?
all I
Remember,
got.
you don't watch The Simpsons, but Barney Grumble, the alcoholic, he gets sober and
Marty.
he gets addicted to coffee. And we realize at the end of the episode that Mo, his old bartender, is the one selling him the coffee. And Mo says, "Either way, I get you." And it sort of feels the same way. I thought I was saving money. I thought I was breaking free of my addiction. I'm paying the same amount of money, and it's a pain in my butt. So I probably do have to go back to cable at some point. And it's frustrating. It could have been a better world, Netflix, but you didn't do it. You had to keep raising your prices. Well, I'll say one thing. You want to talk about places that don't raise their prices for no reason. Let's talk about Steven Singer, the sponsor of this podcast. You guys know him better than anybody. He's
it's so simple. And this is what you're looking for in most businesses you go to, but especially in jewelry. If you're a guy, especially, you don't know anything about diamond. No. You have to rely on the integrity of the guy selling it to you.
Yeah.
When they say it's flawless or it's got disc, they give it grades of how good the gem is.
Yeah.
I have never met anyone who is more honest about that, because Steven Singer understands that it's not about making this sale today. It's about making you a customer for generations. And this guy is so honest in what he does and so fair. He doesn't do all the haggle. You know that haggle junk, Rhea, when you go to a jeweler?
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you $1,000 for that, even though it says $2,500. He doesn't play that game. He just gives you the honest price, and that's the price. And I don't see why anybody would ever want to go to anyone who did it the other way.
Yeah. No, there's no reason. I actually, I have a friend of mine who's so proud. He got his wife's ring at Steven Singer's many, many years ago. And his son just got engaged within the last year. And he goes, "You are not going anywhere." But Steve, and called, and literally their family's been going there forever because they know they're getting treated. And they know here's my budget. Here's what I can afford. I want to get a beautiful ring for my wife, my fiance, whatever. I mean, you are not going to be taken advantage of at Steven Singer Jewelers, ever.
At the corner of 8th and Walnut, there's nobody better, Steven Singer Jewelers.
And you go to IHateStevenSinger.com, and here's all I'm going to say, personal plea. Start a streaming service, Steven Singer, so that I can get good streaming with the same integrity and good prices, not like Netflix or Max.
But don't put it on cable, because Jay's a cord cutter.
All right, Rhea, you are in England.
I am.
We are doing our British segment. What, do we have something special planned for today? Were you watching?
But here's what's really funny, and I think it's because I was half asleep on the way over. I said, "This is great." I went to Prime. I went to Acorn. I said, "I don't do a lot of legal dramas. I do a lot of police stuff, a lot of detective." I said, "Oh my God, this looks amazing." Download it. 3 episodes in, and I go, "I'm doing an Irish legal drama." So I apologize. It's not British. It's Irish. But I will tell you this. It's called Striking Out, available in Prime. Phenomenal. You will absolutely, it's like 100% on audience ratings. So basically what the premise is, this woman, Tara, they call her Tara, as that's how they pronounce it in Ireland. She works at a high power law firm with her fiance. She's out at her hen party. That's what they call a bachelorette party. And she decides to surprise her fiance, right before the wedding. Bad idea, never do it. He was banging a coworker at the time. So it's called Striking Out. And basically what it is she strikes out on her own. She's so upset. She stumbles into a coffee shop and decides to set up shop and starts basically getting her own clients. However, the head of the law firm where she worked at is the father of her fiance, very rich. He wants to basically force her to marry his son. So he starts sabotaging her. So you've got a lot of there's 4 episodes. a couple of cases in the middle of this, which are really interesting cases. But this overarching thing, and you think you're going to hate the ex because he was, basically cheating her like the night before. He kind of turns around and starts helping her out a little bit to go against the father, who's a real bad guy. But there's some funny parts of I just started season 2, watched it on the plane over. I've saved 2 episodes for the plane ride home. And Amy Huberman is the star in it. She's beautiful. You'll love her. Great little funky cast of characters, called Striking Out on Prime. I cannot recommend it highly enough.
That's great.
I'm
Very
on it.
nice.
Irish
All right.
women can't lose. I love them. I had a really horrible week of trying to find something good. I tried, because it's all I've been watching lately, is the new Linklater, Richard Linklater movie with Glenn Powell, Hitman. It, like most Linklater movies, it stinks.
I like Linklater.
It's
Come
awful.
on.
It stinks. Then I tried Challengers because it was a sports movie. Awful. Out. David Zaslav, Ren Fair. This is your latest effort? After the junk you've been hauling out on HBO, you give me Ren Fair? Garbage. Hot liquid garbage. But I didn't want to let people down. I knew, Rhea, we were doing this special London show, and I went, I'm going to find the best show set in London, best movie I've ever seen set in London. It's an American movie. And I did. And it's called Sliding Doors. And it's 1998.
Yeah.
It's Paltrow. And I'm going to tell you why this movie's great. It's a double rom-com. It's basically, she's running down to catch the tube, which, by the way, Rhea, is the most beautiful subway I've ever seen in my life, right?
Gorgeous. No, here Clark goes, why is it better than the Broad Street subway? I go, I could go shopping on my way to beautiful stores, cafes, no, it's stunning, on time, clean, and does not smell.
Well, the whole movie is she's running to catch the tube, the subway, and in one scenario, she just slides in and makes it, and the other one, she doesn't. And then it shows you how fate takes her in completely different places.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Her performance in it is impeccable. She's young. She's beautiful. It's such a compelling film. And the best part is the ending is such a phenomenal twist that you never saw this coming, never saw it coming. It's a great movie. I saw it free on Peacock. What I did was, it's like 4 minutes of commercial. So I put it on, did something, came back in 4 minutes, saw the movie uninterrupted. It's great. And it's in honor of London and Rhea's subway tube thing. And it's terrific. It's Sliding Doors.
Sliding Doors. And real fast, I want to say this to all the men out there. Rhea's assessment of the subway is basically the bare minimum you need to have as a husband, or if you're going on a date. On time, clean, does not smell. Most women don't have huge standards. You just got to meet the bare minimum.
The standards are low.
That is so true.
Be on time, clean, and don't smell. And 88% of the time, you're going to be fine, ladies and gentlemen. I have a movie for you that you can watch, Angela. I think you'll like it. Is a documentary that is on HBO Max now. It just dropped a couple of days ago. It's called MoviePass Movie Crash, about the MoviePass app, which, if you remember, back in the late 20-teens, like the 2016, 17, 18, it made a huge splash because you could pay $10 a month and go see unlimited movies. And everybody said the same thing. How would this possible to make any money doing this? And as it turns out, it wasn't possible to make any money doing this. But at the core of it, it's a real shame because it was originally founded by 2 Black men. And they talked about the need for diversity, and they wanted to do something. It came out of a all-Black film festival that one of them had created. And the app came out of that. And then when they went to go get financing, and the financer said, we got to bring in a CEO that looks more like a CEO. So they get this white guy who is still under indictment for the stuff that he pulled. And so it's not only a story of this app and the behind the scenes of this crazy app, but also it's a story of sort of how men, men of color can sometimes be usurped by the traditional thinking. And it becomes sort of a compelling study of like why we need diversity. And you feel so bad for the guys who founded this thing because they were sitting there going like, we didn't want any of this. We kept saying, stop, put the brakes on. And they cut to the white guy going, they just weren't fitting in with the new culture that we created. It's like the new culture is putting you in jail, fella. Maybe listen to the founders. That's all I'm saying. But it's MoviePass, Movie Crash on Max. I don't know how much Zaslav was involved with it, but it's 90 minutes. There's no reason not to check it out.
I did watch it, and I realized that it's okay. It's not bad. I'm becoming a documentary snob because I'm seeing so many great ones. Netflix puts out, so that Beckham one was great.
Yeah.
The one on Michael J. Fox was great. Yeah. Jinx Part 2 is great. When an ordinary one like this comes along with a pretty good story to tell, I just go, not exciting enough for me.
There's no huge twists and turns. You're right,
no,
but it was
okay.
I was compelled by because a buddy of mine got it and he was like, "Look, you can do it." And I was like, "You're not going to have this for more than a month. This thing can't last because they blew through the money." Angela, what did we do this week?
All right. We'll start with sports. If you would like to see a sports event ruined the way the Phillies trip to London did, you could do so on Fox or ESPN. They will take every event and make it worse than it is. Sorry to say that. And Rhea, the ending yesterday of that game, I still haven't gotten over it.
Really cool. Go on Twitter and there's he's the British MLB announcer. He called it. He had a really good call. I have to give him props for that. You can find it on Twitter. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It was awful. That's one of the worst ways to end a game I've ever seen. Striking Out is a terrific Irish series, British recommendation today at Amazon Prime. I am recommending on Peacock the terrific movie with Gwyneth Paltrow called Sliding Doors. Knox Goes Away remains our big request. It's on demand, and Jay just told you it's worth it, man. What $5.95? Check it out. Merry Gentleman's also on Prime if you want to see his first effort as a hitman and director. And MoviePass, what's it? MoviePass movie what?
Movie Crash. Not a great title.
That's on Max, starring David Zaslav. That's what we got this week.
Special thanks to our sponsor, Steven Singer. If you go to IHateStevenSinger.com, go right there. A lot of what we talk about on this podcast is suggested by you. You could go to send us a text message. It's right there in the app. We got Loud by Angelo Cataldi.
It's Father's Day Sunday. Listen to me. This is a great Father's Day book. I've been getting orders lately again. They remembered me. Go to AngeloCataldi.com or Amazon and order it. I will personalize it if you go to my website. Thank you. You
got the best deal. Get your dad a book that he would absolutely love. Don't get him a dumb gift like my kids are probably going to get me. I'm probably going to get a hat or something that I don't wear.
That's nice.
Yeah, they're for lifetime, Rhea. I've gotten 0 good gifts from my kids. Make me a macaroni necklace or something. Please send us fan mail. Tell people about the podcast. Spread the word about us. We're growing each and every week, and that's thanks to you. And we will be back next week with more great TV content. Thank you so much for sticking around, guys.
Have a good trip, Rhea. See you.
Safe travels, Rhea. Safe travels.